Now, you can Google for FCM, which stands for Firebase Cloud Messaging, to find the official Firebase Cloud Messaging docs. And there you can learn more about that and also learn more about the iOS and Android setup, though you shouldn't go through those steps right now. We'll go through them together, and in Flutter's case, we need to deviate from these steps here, at least in some points. So don't go through them here, but if you ever work on a non-Flutter app, that might be useful. It's also worth noting that you can also use the Firebase Cloud Messaging service to send push notifications to web apps, but we're not going to focus on that here. Now, you can also learn more about the architecture behind that here, and that essentially is the architecture I described. You have some way of creating a message, of creating a notification. You then let the Firebase Cloud Messaging service know about this, and this then uses the different transport layers for Android and for iOS and so on to deliver it to the devices. So that's essentially what I described here. But if you want to read more about that, this is your documentation. And then you also get this About FCM Messages article, which deeply dives into notifications you can send, different kinds of notifications you can send, and all you might want to know about push notifications. In this course, I will rather focus on how to make it work instead of covering all possible kinds of push notifications you could send. If that is something you're interested in, and if you need a specific use case for your next application, the official docs here therefore are the way to go to learn all about that. Essentially, there is one thing that is worth noting, and that is that you have two main kinds of messages. You have notification messages and you have data messages. Notification messages are your default push notifications that pop up on the device, even if the device is in lock mode or if the app is running in the background. And you can then tap those notifications to be taken to the app. Data messages are a bit different from that. They're meant to transport data, for example, to your already running app to update some data in there from behind the scenes, for example. So the traditional push notification and the push notification we're going to look into in this module will be this notification message here. So that is the overview. That is Firebase Cloud Messaging and what you need to know about it. Of course, you should also check out the pricing page for cloud messaging to avoid any unwanted costs. But as you can see, currently cloud messaging here is free, and we therefore shouldn't face any issues at the moment. Still, that is a document that is worth checking out if you plan on using that in your real app. Now, with that, you can of course search for Flutter Cloud Messaging to find the official Firebase Messaging Flutter package. So just like the other Flutter packages which we added, like Firebase Auth, Firebase Storage, and Cloud Firestore, this is a package which you can add to your Flutter project to prepare it for push notifications and to handle push notifications. So therefore, we should definitely go through these setup and installation steps here. Now, the first step is that we click on installing and we just grab this dependency and then go to the pubspec.yaml file and add it here like we added all the other Firebase packages. But that's not all we need to do. Instead, now we got specific setup steps for Android and further down below also for iOS. And yes, we got a couple of steps there. There are a couple of steps we need to go through because push notification setup is a bit more complex because of the reasons I outlined on the slide a few minutes ago. So let's start with Android here. I will also show the entire iOS push notification process though. One important note, you can test push notifications on the Android emulator. For iOS, you need a real iOS device though. You can't test push notifications on iOS simulators. That is simply a restriction imposed by Apple, and there is nothing I can do about that. So with that, let's get started with the Android integration in the next lecture.